get in before we get perfect. All right, it looks like we are recording and we are going to get started. Welcome everyone. Happy holidays. It is officially December. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Lynn Lilly. I am a Michaels maker. I am an expert crafter and I am here with brands that I absolutely love today. And we are going to be making a fun holiday project. I love this because it's a little bit off the traditional colors of Christmas, but it's easy and fun for the whole family. So before we get started, I would love for you to jump in the chat. Say hello to us if you're watching. We'd love to give you some shout outs later so you can say hello in that chat. Tell us where you're watching from. If you've got any questions, you can chat it to myself, or there is Zachary from my team. You see him in there. Zach will be able to help answer those questions as well and relay them to me. All right, so without further ado, let's get our project started. So today we're going to be using, like I said, some of my favorite brands. Everything that I use today you can find at Michaels. If you don't know, Colorshot is brand new at Michaels. It is by far my favorite spray paint ever for multiple reasons. Literally, you can get almost any project done in one coat, and the colors are so bright and fun. It's an amazing. I can't say enough about it. When I saw that Michaels was carrying it, I was super excited. So today we're going to be using Colorshot, and they all have fun names too. So we've got With a Twist, but there's also other colors. So I've got some back here. We've got Aromatherapy. We've got Emoji. We've got Farmer's Daughter, which is my fave. We've got Splash as well. And it also comes in different finishes. So let's hop over to our top-down camera, and I'm going to show you everything that we need for today's project, and then we're going to get started. All right. And if for any reason you need to jump out of the broadcast or want to rewatch it, we will have this. It will be on the Michaels YouTube channel and on michaels.com/classes, and usually about 48 to 72 hours. You can always check back there. All right. So if we can switch. All right, cool. We're on the top down. I'm going to pin this so I can see what I'm doing just to make sure. Okay, perfect. All right, so what you see here, we've got our Colorshot spray paint, and this is a gloss. It's a paint press primer, which is why it's so great. And the color is With a Twist. It is this green color that you see on the can. We're going to be using this fun wood Christmas tree cutout. Again, you can find this in the raw wood section at Michaels. There's a whole bunch of other fun wooden cutouts. We also are going to be using Aleene's Tacky glue. Comes in different sizes. I've got a 2 ounce and a 4 ounce here. And then we're going to be using our Tulip dimensional fabric paint, aka also known as puffy paint. I'm sure if you're watching, you have used this since you were a little kid like me. So we're going to be using that as well. All right, so to get started, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually spray paint our sign. And I'm going to give you a quick little sneak peek so you can see. You probably saw it more on the front camera, but this is what we are making today. So by the end of the broadcast, we're going to get to this. And you can kind of see it's got some fun 3D dimension to it, which makes it a little extra fun. All right, so when you are prepping to spray paint, make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area, okay? Make sure that your surface is covered. And then you want to have any safety gear that you need. I'm going to take off my watch and my jewelry. And then also I am going to put on a mask. So if I sound a little muffled in a second, this is why. But before I do that, I'm going to shake up my pan. Make sure it's nice and loose, okay? And again, make sure your table is covered. I've got some plastic down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy on. All right. Now, when you spray, I always just test it off to the side just to make sure we're good to go, all right? And then you wanna hold anywhere from about 6 to 8 inches and start with sweeping motions, okay? And I do a light spraying and then I go back over it. You don't want to spray too much too close because you'll get what's called pooling and it will drip, okay? So you want to keep going back and forth. And I know that I'm going to cover my star, so I'm not as concerned about spraying my star because we're going to cover that with felt. And we go back. And I'm also going to be covering the bottom here as well. But you can see how nicely that color goes on. All right, so go over it like slightly, play back and forth 1 or 2 times. But then once it's dry, you're ready to go. So for the magic of the broadcast, I do have one. I'm going to show it to you and then I'm going to hand off. So see how fun that is? All right, so I'm gonna hand off this one. All right, you should be able to hear me again. I'm gonna give this plastic. We did it on plastic, so then when we take it off, got it? All right, we take it off. We have a nice clean surface. All right, so this is what it looks like once we've got it done. So how fun is that color? I love, love, love. I can't talk to you enough about how much I love the Colorshot colors. They're so great. All right, we've got our tree. Now we're gonna be using some other things. So I've got a variety of felts here as well. And then remember, we're going to be using our dimensional fabric paint. I've got some out of a package. So we're gonna have these handy. And then we're gonna also have our tacky glue ready to go. Okay. And then I've got some scissors. So I use fabric scissors when I'm cutting felt. I think it just helps cut felt a little bit cleaner. I'm gonna use some pink. You can get all this felt at Michael's, but what we're going to cut out is we're going to cut out some light bulbs, okay? I love Christmas lights on trees to go see them. I love them all. And I feel like Christmas light crafts are so cute. All right, so a simple, bring this up closer so you guys can see it. Nothing crazy, right? So it almost looks like part of football. And if you cut it out and you want to round it out a little bit more, you can. Just like that. All right. And they don't all have to be the same, right? Kind of makes them a little quirky and fun if they're a little bit different, each one, the shapes. Now, we're going to make one, and then I've got some already made for you. And while I'm doing this, Zach, do we have some hellos that we can say? Let's see. All right. So it looks like we've got a few people tuning in. If you haven't said hello to me in the chat, please do. I would love to say hello to you. I see we've got Betty tuning in. We've got Maria. All right. So friends, just if you haven't yet, I like to talk to you. So please say hello to me. All right. We've got black felt. Now remember, there's like that top part of the Christmas light. That's like kind of where it connects to the string. So we're going to cut out that top part. And I'm going to cut a little piece. And then if I need to, I can kind of adjust the size. Now what I recommend doing is get your pieces cut for one, and then you can use that to trace others. Now, if you're using black felt, you'll want to use a piece of chalk, will help you trace on there. So put that on like that. So it gives you that look of a Christmas light. All right, so now I'll get to the other ones, but let's work on this one. We're going to take our tacky glue. Great thing about tacky glue is that it works on so many different surfaces. So you can glue felt to felt, you can glue felt to wood like we're going to do. It's really great for all different types of crafts and great if you're doing things with kids as well. So I put a little bit on the end right there, and we're going to glue that just like that. Okay. So you see it. All right. So I've got some other ones cut. I'm going to bring over this paper plate that I have here so you can see. I got a whole bunch of other ones done. I'm doing about 15 of them for this tree. So you do blue, red, purple. We've got a whole bunch of different colors. You can choose whatever you would like your string light to be. There are two other things that you want to cut out of felt. You're going to want to cut the star. So by tracing that, I just put it on a piece of yellow felt, traced it, and it fits, right? So we're going to glue that on in just a sec. And then I also want my tree trunk to be brown. So I cut a piece of brown felt to work with that as well. So we're going to use our tacky glue, and I'm going to apply it to the back of my felt. Just a little bit. You don't need a ton. Goes really far. Okay. And we're going to glue this right at the top. Okay. And it gets tacky pretty quick, hence tacky glue. So it will be dry pretty quick. You get that, you can feel it grab onto the wood. We're gonna do the same thing at the bottom here. And then we are going to lay out our Christmas light. Okay. So we're gonna put this right on the bottom, just like that. All right, so now we've got all of our Christmas lights. You can kind of decide how you want them to appear. If you want to do a different color pattern, you can. And we're going to have them coming up the tree. So it's going to get smaller and smaller as we go. And I like to lay these out before I start gluing them, because just in case I want to kind of switch out my colors, make them a little different, it gives me kind of a visual of what it's going to look like before I glue everything down. So let's do another blue one here. And you can follow the lines in the tree if you want, or you can kind of create your own. That's the fun part about crafts. There is really, you can, in a project like this, no right or wrong as far as patterns, colors go. You have the ability to get creative. All right, we'll put maybe one right there. All right, so now we're going to take our tacky glue. And again, I'm just going to pick up the top and the bottom and add some glue. Okay, so a little bit there. And I'm going to put just a little bit on each. Now, you can pull up the whole thing, but for time's sake, I'm just going to do a little on the top and a little on the bottom of each one so we can get them all glued on. Now, I just did Christmas lights on here, some other ideas. You can also make ornaments out of felt, right? So if you want to do some like balls, you can. You could even create candy canes that you could put on here. So lots of options as far as how much decorating you do. I like the simplicity of a tree with just Christmas lights. I'm like when it comes to decorating Christmas tree, I'm either like minimalistic or bring it on everything. So I either like a very simple tree with just lights, or I want my tree bursting with ornaments and balls and lights and anything we can fit in it to fill. So I'm at the like both opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to decorating a Christmas tree. So you'll see both when you kind of see my house decorated. If you follow me, you know that I'm in the middle of a move. So I'll be decorating at home, hopefully next weekend. But our studio here at Craft Box Girls is bursting with holiday fun. We have done so much stuff. We've got Michael's dream trees behind me across the studio. They're everywhere. All right. We've got all of our ornaments glued on. So now we get to have some fun decorating. Okay. So this is where our Tulip Slick dimensional fabric paint comes in handy. You can get, so in case you missed the beginning, this is an awesome pack because you got neon and you get rainbow colors in here as well. And then you get some doubles of white and black, which are kind of ones that you use a lot. But this is great to have handy. My daughter is 5. She absolutely loves, we call it puppy paint at home. That's what I called it when I was little. She absolutely loves puppy paint. So we have a lot of it at home. All right, so I'm going to show you something on this one so you can kind of see it a little better before I get started. So we're going to draw what is going to be the light string. And that's the fun part about the Tulip Slick. It works really well when you're drawing, right? And then we're going to add the little hook at the top that completes this little top chain to our strand of lights, okay? So I always like to have like a piece of paper, or I've got a paper plate here. I always check, make sure there's no like air bubbles at the beginning or anything like that. So I always just squeeze it out on something to make sure that it's flowing nicely. And then I'm going to start at the top. And the fun part about doing the light chain is you can kind of get a little fun and crazy with the pattern. I leave a little spot there. I'm going to do my loop and then come back like that. And we're going to do a line for each kind of line of, or I should say a light strand for each line of ornaments. When I get to my ornament, I do my little hook. And don't be afraid to do some little swirls with it. You know, because the light chain is always tangly, right? No matter what we do to pack it up the year before, it's always knotted, right? So it always kind of is a little bit crazy when it goes on the ornament. All right, and then we're going to come here and do our little strand right there. And I chose black. You could choose whatever color you want to do your light strand in. You may want to use, you could make it green, so it looks like it blends in with the tree. It's up to you. I'm going to start this strand a little bit further down so that I can do a little bit more swirlies coming up. Swirlies is the technical term in case you didn't know. All right, so we're going to come down here. If you're watching, I have a question for you. When it comes to Christmas lights, are you a rainbow multicolored Christmas light person, or are you one that likes all white twinkly lights or all one color? What's your choice? What's your choice? I see Zach, my production coordinator. What's your choice? He wants to tell me. I can tell. Okay, so he likes the multicolor ones. I do too. I'm a multicolor because if you know me, you know I like rainbow and I like lots of color. All right. And then we've got one more to do. All right, I got another thing that you can also comment. I like to ask people questions. What is your favorite Christmas/holiday movie? You got a movie? I can tell you mine. I go in between. I like a lot. I definitely like the Santa Claus. I also really like Elf. And I like Miracle on 34th Street. Something as a child of watching Miracle on 34th Street just brings the warmth and the magic of Christmas to me. I don't know. I love it. So if you'd like to tell us in the comments, I'd be happy to know what your favorite holiday movies are. Okay. All right. So as we finish our light stand, we're gonna add some more detail to our ornaments because I want to bring them to life. I think that ad spell, they look fine, but what I like about Tulip Slick is that it brings that dimension and brings your project to life, right? So I'm gonna add a few things. I'm gonna take my red, so we'll start with red, and I'm gonna outline. So I'm just gonna, the simple thought of just outlining the edges of them just adds so much. And you may want to wait in between, especially if you're doing this with kids. They may want to wait till like the light strand dries so you don't drag your hand through it. But if you're an adult, just be aware that you don't want to touch the light strand until it's dry. Okay. And then I'm going to come in. I'm going to do the same with my pink. I've got two different shades of pink. So I'm going to add some pink, and I'm going to do this with every ornament. But I've got to finish one. So I'm not going to do it for everyone live because you guys get the point of it. But I'm going to take one of these red ones that I just did. I'm going to show you. You can also, if you'd like, and take your black again. If you want to add some dimension to the top here, you can also outline, and I'll bring this up to the camera so you can see it. But you can also outline this part as well, right? So you can outline that part. And then, you know, the lights have that little glimmer, that little sparkle. So I like to take the white and just add in like a little glare mark. Doesn't have to be big, right? So you can do it kind of all different sides. Go down to one that we already have outlined and just add in that little glimmer, okay? So pretend like I did all of them, right? For time's sake. The last things that I want to do is I also want to outline my star because I don't want my star to not be sparkly and fun and stand out because that is the magical part of the Christmas tree. Okay, so I'm going to outline my star right here around it. Even so Tulip also sells larger bottles that are sparkle. So you can check those out as well at Michael's. And when they dry, they're super sparkly. So that's another option if you want to add some more like real big time sparkle to your star. Okay, so we outline that. And we don't want to forget about the trunk of our tree. And I'll bring this up so you can see it, get a good picture because I know I'm a little bit further away. And then also for the trunk of our tree. So if you think about dry times in this project, your spray paint will dry on this wood because the wood will absorb it pretty fast. Should be dry in 30 to 45 minutes. And then your dimensional fabric paint, your Tulip Slick, will dry in about an hour to 2 hours. But you can make this whole project, you cut out dry times in literally less than an hour and a half, hour-ish. So it's a really fun, easy, quick project. So I want to bring this one back because you can see I've got all of them outlined on here. I'm going to bring this up really close, right? You can see all the little individual parts. And that this is dry, right? So you see that kind of 3D element that brings out to it, which I really like. You can see our star. All right, and that is what the full one looks like when it's dry. All right, if we want to hop back to the front facing camera. All right. Yes, okay, we're good. All right, so take it out from the front. It comes with a little hanger on it. My little hanger got sprayed green, so it looks great, matches the tree. You can also take this off if you would like and put on a piece of ribbon. But this is cute to hang if you want to do like on a kid's room, inside on the back door. It's really fun. Or if you've just got a random little nail that needs something Christmas and sparkly on it, put this inside your house. I love it. I'm really excited about how it turned out. This is actually going to go on the door of my kids' playroom in our new house that we're moving into tomorrow. So All right, friends, that's it for today's project. So I would love for you, if you make the project, please make sure that you share it. We'd also love for you to tag Tulip, also tag Aleene's, and also tag Colorshot. Those are all the products that I use today. They're all part of the same product family too. So we'd all love to see your projects. Remember, if you want to rewatch this video, so maybe you're going to go run to Michael's right now and get all the things. It will be back up on michaels.com/classes within the next usually 42, I think, to like 72 hours, or 48 to 72 hours. And it'll also be on Michael's YouTube as well. So we'd love for you to check it out. All right, friends, that's it. Zach, did I miss any questions or are we good? All right, cool. Well, I hope everyone has a very happy holiday. I wish you all the best. I'm sure I will see you all over on social. Thank you so much for crafting with me. That's it for today's workshop. And thank you to Tulip, Colorshot, and Aleene for having me. And of course, Michael. Bye. Happy holidays. Be kind. Inspire someone. Bye.